What if I told you most rappers are actually from a nice house in the suburbs and didn't grow up in the streets like they really claim? Can you guess who this rapper is? If you want to know who has been lying to you this whole time, stay tuned as we cover 8 rappers that are actually from the suburbs. Be sure to leave a like and subscribe to the channel, and let's get right into it. J. Cole.
Graduated magna cum laude, I hope I'm saying that right, from St. John's University. That's something that's very rare.
There are a lot of great rappers out there who have tragic backstories that honestly helped fuel their careers. But then there are ones like J. Cole, who had a few heartbreaks, but honestly had a better childhood than you might expect, which is kind of the opposite of the hood life. With J. Cole, he technically wasn't even born in the United States, as he was born in 1985, a reference he would later use in a song, at an American Air Force base in West Germany. This was before the unification. Eventually, after his father left him and his mother, they were moved to a multi-ethnic part of North Carolina, and he noted later on in life that he actually could relate to all the other ethnicities, but he still connected the most with his black side. I can identify with white people because I know my mother, her side of the family, who I love, but at the end of the day, I've never felt white. I can identify with white people, but never have I felt like I'm one of them. I identify more with what I look like because that's how I got treated, but not necessarily in a negative way. The last line is key because many in the hood life have to deal with the fallout from being black, but that honestly didn't happen to J. Cole. Rather, he had a balanced life, he went to school and got a 4.2 GPA in high school, and was a first chair violinist in an orchestra. How many people from the hood can say that? As if that wasn't enough, he eventually went to college and graduated magna cum laude. That's very far from what people associate with being hood.
With a lot of rappers. You don't talk about it a lot. Did that help you? Did education help you become a rapper?
I think so. I think I'm a communications major.
That's not to say he should be ashamed of his path in life, far from it, but it's just showing that he had a much different path than one would associate with him in his music, and that's actually something that many people have noticed about J. Cole in recent years, and that he's trying to be a mentor to the next generation of singers, especially mumble rappers, as they are being much rasher and vain with their purchases and what they're doing with their fame. J. Cole is trying to teach them that they need to be smart, build a life for themselves, and so on and so forth. Many aren't listening, but he's trying, and you can attribute that to his good childhood. Travis Scott.
I wanted to be a nephrologist when I grew up. A kidney doctor. Yeah.
Travis Scott is another name that has been all over the news in recent years, not the least of which is because of his music, which includes a hit collaboration with Drake, as well as the relationship that he had with Kylie Jenner, which almost ended in 2019 in a very public fashion. But despite his music and the way he carries himself, he's not from the hood. And unlike many other rappers, both on this list and not, he's never misled people to think that he was, mainly because he grew up in the suburb known as Missouri City, Texas, while he later moved to Houston, which is where most people associate him with. The area itself was not only very nice, but he was also very much middle class in terms of his upbringing, so much so that his mother actually worked for Apple. Plus, his father owned a business. Not a lot of rappers can say that about their parents. Because of his upbringing, he was able to go to private school, another thing that many rappers wouldn't be able to say about themselves besides Drake. That being said, there was a point in his life where things weren't all sunshine and lollipops, mainly the first 6 years of his life. During that point, while still living in the Houston area, he lived with his grandmother in a more poverty-stricken area. While he didn't participate in the various things that were going on in the streets, he did play witness to it. Believe it or not, this was all the motivation he needed to not just ensure he wasn't a part of that life, but that he got a better life for himself. This came true when his parents turned things around and got him into the suburbs. Then he started working on getting music made, and he became very popular and is one of the most popular rappers out there today. Tyga.
I was young, my mom used to say I looked like Tiger Woods, so I just stuck with that. Grew up, not too tough, parents got a Range Rover.
Tyga has honestly been in the news a lot over the last few years, and none of it has been good. He was dating Kylie Jenner at one point, that was good for the record, but then they broke up. Following that, he went into a spiral of money issues, and that's the bad part. And then he bounced back in 2019, made some good songs, and seems to have everything back on track. But who really is Tyga? First off, his real name is Michael Ray Stevenson, and he was born in November of 1989 to parents of Vietnamese and Jamaican descent, which is quite a mixture if you think about it. Anyway, he was born and raised in Compton, California. Then when he was 12, he moved to Gardena. Once he got bit by the rap bug by listening to legends like Eminem and Lil Wayne, he started to crank out his own tracks. He put out a bunch of mixtapes and demos and tried to make his name on them. This happened in part in 2007, where he made a mixtape called Young on Probation, and it got the attention of a rapper named Travie McCoy, who might actually be related to Tyga, but that's up for debate in the eyes of many. Through McCoy, he was offered a place on the label Decadence Records. Between teaming up with them and GED Inc., Tyga was able to release his first independent album in June of 2008. While it may not have been the biggest seller, it did have an impact on the world, as one track from the album, Diamond Life, found its way into two different video game franchises, Need for Speed and Madden, as well as making making its way into the 2009 movie Fighting. Not bad for a first album, huh? The minor success got the attention of Lil Wayne himself, who again was one of Tyga's idols, and he got him to sign an additional record deal with Young Money Records. Through this deal, he was not only featured on the label, but got to work with many rap legends like Chris Brown, Lil Wayne, and more, and his track Deuces made it onto the Billboard Top 100, peaking at number 14. Here's the twist though, while the Compton to Gardena story is the most well known about Tyga, there are some reports that state that this might not actually be his true origin story. Mainly, he did a video once where he said that he was born and raised in San Fernando Valley, and that, unlike his other story, his mother was not only fine, but she lived a peaceful life. That's quite a conflict, don't you think? I mean, you can't have it both ways. Tyga attempted to clear it up via a tweet, but all he did was muddy the waters more. What's more, his camp is one that is sticking to the Compton to Gardena story. So is that the true story, or just one that is the best to sell? Either way, it does show where he came from in part, if not in whole. Pusha T. In the rap world, many believe that the image of being a certain thing is more important than actually being that thing. If you don't believe me, ask 6ix9ine. He knows all about that. But he won't be on this list, thankfully. Instead, we have Pusha T, who according to his many songs is a kingpin or a trap lord, which would seem to indicate to some that he was born in hard times, and that he had to do what it took to survive and all that other stuff. However, that's not true at all. To be fair, he was born in the Bronx, but by the time he was a teen, he was living in Virginia Beach, Virginia, which for any of you who know the area, it's actually rather nice. It was very middle class, as some would say. Both he and his brother actually had a nice thing going for a while, and then they decided to mess it up by themselves. You see, while they did live in a good part of town, a lot of their friends did not, and those friends had a big influence on both Pusha T and his brother Gene Thornton. Because of this, they eventually started selling illegal substances with their friends, which got them in all sorts of trouble, including but not limited to getting kicked out of school because of it, and even getting kicked out of their parents' house. Did this affect the brothers? Yes, but not in the way that you think. After getting kicked out, they decided to go and be a rap duo called Clips, and started their path to stardom. And I do mean that literally. They were able to do a lot in the rap world and achieve all kinds of success, but the irony came when their Virginia Beach racket got busted. In a $10 million bust, all the friends and associates of their dealing days were caught and arrested. To their credit, the brothers didn't get busted with them, probably because of distance and evidence. But this was a wake-up call for Gene, who abandoned rapping and became a preacher. Pusha T continued with the business though, and eventually became one of the best and most known rappers in the game, and is even president of one of Kanye West's record labels. Don't get it twisted though. While Pusha T did end up big, he started out in the burbs. Lil Yachty.
I was never a big fan of Fake ID.
I never had a fake ID.
We actually were both kind of good kids. We didn't really club. If you can't get in, then just don't go.
Lil Yachty is one of these social media rappers, or ones who got their fame first on things like Instagram and then boosted themselves to popularity through their music later on. Lil Pump and 6ix9ine were ones who got the fame this way amongst many others, but Lil Yachty actually went on a very different path compared to those guys. He moved to New York, became a fashion model of sorts, networked all over the place and more. Then as he started making music, people started liking it and even use it in popular YouTube videos. And then people like DJ Khaled, Chance the Rapper, and more started to pay attention to him. But before that ever happened, he was born Miles Parks McCollum, and he was born in the suburb known as Mableton, Georgia, where he honestly lived a nice life. There's a couple of twists though. First off, due to Lil Yachty's more secretive nature, we don't know much about his life outside of sparse details, including that his parents were working class folks, which fits the mold of a suburbs family. The other twist though is that he used to run credit card scams back in Georgia, and that actually got him arrested when he was 18. So he has a record, just not the record you would associate with a rapper like Lil Yachty. Either way, he eventually released mixtapes that would lead him to a very rich and full life he has now, when he's not defaulting on jewelry purchases, that is. Chance the Rapper.
In all ways, I feel like I couldn't be who I am without being from Chicago and having the experiences that I had.
The man you know as Chance the Rapper didn't grow up in the hood either. He was born and raised in Chicago, where he still resides now, and he loves his hometown. And while he got himself into a little bit of trouble by doing some bad things, it wasn't because of his upbringing. Why do I say that? Well, his father was actually an assistant to a former mayor of Chicago, and he was an assistant to then Senator and future President Barack Obama. And this was right before his presidential run, and there was a chance that his family would have moved to Washington, D.C. to go be with Obama, but it never came to be. So his family was really powerful, and Chance knew that, and actually didn't care at first, but he did care about his music, especially when he heard a Kanye West song while he was going through Hyde Park one day. He dug what West was doing and bought his College Dropout album when it released because he was inspired. He would use his time at school to go and do even more music, including making his own little hip-hop groups and make his debut title 10 Day while he was suspended from school. This got him a lot of props and attention when it released, and would lead to articles being written about him in various publications, including Forbes via one of their music columns, and Childish Gambino asked him to be an opening act during one of his tours. His career really took off from there, including getting him 3 Grammys for his album Coloring Book, worldwide acclaim, and praise from his community for being a well-known philanthropist. Chicago sometimes gets a bad rap, but it can smile proudly on one of its best sons via Chance the Rapper, Post Malone.
LIVESTREAM. This is me in my 83 Crown Victoria in high school. It's me with a large lobster.
When it comes to Post Malone, he's most definitely one of the more unique talents here in the rap world. He has a style that is truly his own, and his look screams of a guy who isn't afraid to be what he feels like being. But how well do you think you know him in regards to his childhood? Because it'll honestly surprise you. He was born and raised in Syracuse, New York by his father and stepmother. His dad at the time was a disc jockey, and it was through this that Post Malone got his first foray into music, and not just rap, but all kinds of music. His father taught him all sorts of styles, and that stuck with him. What might surprise you though is what happened to him when he was 9. Nothing bad, it's just that his dad was hired to be the head of concessions for the Dallas Cowboys. That may not sound like a big deal, but when you work for the Dallas Cowboys, it can be a big deal. And remember, he was the head of it, which means that he was very well off. It was during this time that Post Malone went and started to learn how to play guitar, inspired by Guitar Hero obviously, and tried out for many bands, including a heavy metal one. In fact, he did many different genres of music before making his first rap hit in White Iverson, which got him attention from both heavy hitters in the rap industry and many music labels. Now, Post Malone is one of the most unique rappers presently, and his songs always get a lot of hits, and his visuals and his music videos are usually either really colorful or really impactful. Sure, he may be covered in tattoos and sing some pretty emotional and oftentimes dark stuff, but that's because of his musical mindset and relationship woes with certain ladies, but not because of his upbringing. Drake.
What's up, everybody? You're chilling with me, Aubrey Graham. You guys want to go for a ride? We can go for a ride.
Yeah, I bet many of you forgot that Drake isn't just Canadian, but that he wasn't exactly born in the rough side of the country. In fact, when it comes to the legend known as Drake, he may act hood at times via his many blow-ups at people and beefs with others, but he's honestly not. True, he's never explicitly said he was hood, and he has never been shy to talk about his hometown of Toronto, Canada, but this is another case of people believing that because of certain actions and certain songs that he has done, that he is hood, and that's a mistake, especially when it comes to Drake. Not unlike many rappers associated with the non-suburbs life, Drake was born into the world with not the best of circumstances, including having his father leave him and his mother in order to go to America to pursue his own musical career, which didn't go well. As a result, Drake and his mother had to go and live in a rather rundown area of Toronto where there were a lot of issues. Which might be where you say, but doesn't that prove all the things that have been thought about with Drake? But this is where the twist comes in, because unlike many in the rap world, he was given a golden opportunity, not to do rap, but to do TV. He was a star on Degrassi The Next Generation, and that led him to getting a lot of money to support his mother and himself. In fact, he noted many times that the only reason he even considered doing TV was so that he could help his mother and get them both into a better life. Eventually, that led him to getting in touch with key music people, and his career took off after that. Now Drake is one of the biggest things in the world of music, and not just in the rap sense, but in the all of music sense. Between 2018 and 2019, he had so many hit songs and albums that he broke all-time music records, including one set by the Beatles. So yeah, his life did start out rough, but a string of good choices led him to be one of the coolest and richest men in the rap world today, mostly thanks to the Suburbs. Can we really give these rappers a hard time? Is lying about their come up really that big of a deal? I mean, we all understand why they did it, right? If we're completely honest, these rappers would have had a very hard time getting people's respects because not being from the streets as a rapper is something looked down upon. Mostly because people who listen to rap like listening to someone who they can relate to. So if you're someone pursuing hip hop as a career, letting people know you're not from the hood isn't really a power move. And there you have it, some rappers who honestly grew up in the suburbs of their various neighborhoods. Were you surprised by some of the people that were on this list? Do you think that one came from a different life before coming into rap? Do you know any other rappers that would fit on this list? If you do, go ahead and let me know in the comments down below. Be sure to subscribe. I'm King Trending, and I'll see you next time.
A simple reminder on how to enter our brand new giveaway. We will be giving away either an iPhone X Max, the new iPad Mini, or a MacBook Pro. It's really your choice. So be sure to leave a like, comment the keyword, subscribe, and turn on notifications to enter the giveaway. It's really that simple. Go for it.